stories trending on CBSNewYork.com today is the Weinstein case. A federal judge denied the motion to dismiss any of the sexual assault charges against Harvey Weinstein earlier today in Manhattan. The decision allows the case to move forward to trial. Today we have with us Minna Kotkin. She is a professor of law at Brooklyn Law School. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
First of all, your reaction to the judge's decision.
Well, it's a little bit of an anticlimax after all the hype.
Yes.
The whole hearing took only 10 minutes, and the judge denied all of the motions, and he issued a written decision a little bit later, which is out now, basically on legal grounds, saying that there wasn't enough to show that the grand jury process had been so infected that anything should be thrown out.
So now what does Mr. Brathman do for Mr. Weinstein? What's next for the defense after this decision?
The next big thing is going to be, I think, a hearing about whether the judge will allow other alleged victims of Mr. Weinstein to testify in court at the trial.
You mentioned similar to the Bill Cosby case.
Exactly, similar to the Bill Cosby case. And as you remember, in the first trial of Bill Cosby, only two women were allowed to testify. In the second trial, a number of women were allowed to be testify, and many commentators think that that's what made the big difference in getting him convicted, in addition to the greater attention drawn to the issues by the Me Too movement.
Yes, and there were women from out there this morning who just giving their statement.
Absolutely.
They're being pleased by what happened today.
Yes.
You know, when we think back just in the recent weeks over the NYPD, the detective, also DA Cyrus Vance, and just some questions that the defense was really, zeroing in, hoping for what would happen in their favor today. So where does that, it's going to come back again in some ways, is it not?
Well, it looks like a loss today, but Weinstein's defense team has managed to get out a lot of evidence that suggests that there was an ongoing, consensual, friendly relationship between the complainants and Weinstein. And that's going to be the strategy, obviously. These women are going to be up for a really rough cross-examination when the trial comes. There have been a lot of emails released that are sort of friendly emails. But what that doesn't really take into account is the fact that in this industry, Weinstein was so powerful that unless you stayed on friendly terms with him, your career might be over.
The case now and all of these that have over the past year we've seen in the news, and I'm wondering, because remember, she's a professor at Brooklyn Law School, Professor Kotkin, how has it changed the way you teach, or how are the reactions from these students different from ones years ago, and just take us in your classrooms?
It certainly has opened students' eyes. Law students, even the women law students, are still, early in their careers and may not have experienced what it's still like out there to some extent. So certainly there's been much more of an interest among my students about the reality of sexual harassment and how it sort of takes place in many workplaces to a degree that many people thought had been eliminated. It clearly has not been.
No. But when you're teaching our future lawyers, I really want to know about that. We see them on TV, Law and Order, and all the different shows. I mean, to be realistic here, but what are you telling them inside about something so vital when you know their livelihood, these defendants?
What I try to tell them is how they should advise clients that they see about making sure that if they're in this situation, they protect themselves. They go to the HR department. They take notes. They make recordings even. But they need to amass evidence of a bad situation and do something about it. They can't remain silent. And we've seen how all of these women in the Weinstein situation remained silent for so many years. And that's been a real problem. So it's important to come forward with your complaints, to keep records, and to make sure you use the remedies that are available in the workplace and not to keep silent.
Thank you so much, Professor Minna
You're welcome.
Kotkin.
It's a pleasure.
I learned a lot from Brooklyn Law School. We appreciate you being here on
Thank you
CBSN
so
New
much.
York.